For the card reader, that's another device that I'm quite sure a lot of people are really not too comfortable with, especially the bad guys in our electoral process. They understand the implication of this. But it would seem as if some of the little bad guys, the thugs, that the ordinary bad guy that they are using to foment some of this trouble on election day don't understand the power of the card reader. Otherwise, the issue of some, few cases of ballot snatching in our last election, we've heard some political party members say that some ballot boxes were snatched. With a card reader, that shouldn't have been a problem, should it?
Even if the card reader works, if it is optimal the way it ought to work, then obviously it doesn't make sense matching a ballot box. Again, also, when you are used to a process and you've stayed in one place for so long, you've snatched ballot boxes and won elections from it, you find it very difficult. Somebody's trying to take business off you, so you resist it. And that's what all the resistance we have to the card readers. But having said this, if it does work, when it works, because it will work eventually, then obviously that will be the end of snatching of ballot boxes. Because what does it do? It accredits you. Once you are accredited, whatever you do subsequently,
it shows.
It shows. So, and if you notice, INEC didn't tell us of an alternative plan to card reader, but they had one, which was doing the election the following day or doing it manually. They did not let the populace know because they didn't want them to have that alternative plan to honor to forestall the card readers. So, truly speaking, we are moving in the direction.
So when it came as a surprise.
Nobody was planning. Yes.
But there's also another twist to this, the human element. Now they say, because the last elections, those who we spoke with said, look, what they noticed is there's an issue with the result sheets. So there's a lot of protest about what's going on with the result sheets. In Lagos here, some of the people who came here were saying, well, if everybody agreed and said, okay, well, since you don't have the result sheet, we know the number of people here, plain sheets of paper. And so they deploy plain sheets of paper. In some other areas, they accuse other parties of conniving with the electoral officials, bringing them on their side, and then manipulating the process.
Well, you see, we are never stop. We never stop of innovations in Nigeria. Now, one of the things we have evolved as a people, that things you can do things instantaneously now. You can record things, you can take photographs of things. Everybody has a smartphone. They can do a lot of things. Now, if we all agree at the election result, you see, as long as elections are transparent, there will never be a problem. If you stand in a queue and you voted and you count the result publicly for everybody, you can actually have that on record. You can actually video that from your phone.
Yeah, but then the problem is, how do you know that that's what the INEC official filled when it came to time to fill the actual result sheets?
No, that's what they were. If you actually you were in a program now where you actually saw the process, and you actually took photographs of it, and you actually videoed it, if the INEC official declares a different result, it's very easy to thwart.
Yeah.
And if you thwart that, it gets me back to that point, because for you, there must be collusion from the INEC official to do otherwise. And if you do otherwise...
The question I ask is this. For instance, I know that this came up in the last elections, where people said, we stayed, we monitored our votes, we got the results before we went home. But it turned out that for them, it would seem that the manipulation or the attempted manipulation were happening at the collation centers. We asked, what more do you think the electorate can do? I mean, the electorate have done their part. They've stayed at the polls, they've monitored the votes, and they've had the results from that polling unit. But when you now get to the ward level or the local government level, if results are going to be manipulated there, how do you know?
Nothing is going to stop you from attempting to manipulate processes. What you need to do, you need to have a back now on how to determine whether that process has been right. So there's not, you don't have a final say because you manipulated it. People will always try to manipulate processes because the winner takes all position we're doing in elections. So people will try as much as possible to win through by hook or crook. But once you have an alternative, and that's where the electoral body becomes very important. If the electoral body is really an unbiased, once they see convincing evidence of a process that is wrong, obviously they will nullify that result and do what is right. And then you need to prosecute. We go back to the first point which Chamberlain raised. You need to be able to prosecute both the electoral officers and everybody who was involved in that collusion. The more you keep doing that, the process will evolve and get better. We're on the right track. Don't get me wrong. People will always try to cheat.
But then there's a problem as well. The problem here is this. There have been cases where people try all sorts of malpractices, maybe in their opponent's stronghold, just to ensure that when the results there are cancelled, it doesn't add up to the general figures. You lose figures there. Do you think that it is not the electorate that is being punished when the results are cancelled in a polling unit, for instance?
Those incidents, we use one term in the electoral world. The infractions are not such magnitude as toward the electoral process. We see when the election happened. Obviously, it was the will of the people that happened. Now, a situation might arise where the will of the people actually thwarted, and people actually who were not supposed to, who would have won elections, are declared winners. That's why you have the tribunals to deal with that. If the tribunals function, you see there are many layers of dealing with this stuff. It's just that we're unique people and we do things differently. If we have all the processes in place, for instance, if I recorded the election in my word and shows, and I play it before any tribunal and say this is what transpired, you were there, the photograph, they speak for themselves. It becomes very difficult. Once 1, 2, 3, 4 things are turned over, then people begin to see that you can't get, it's not business as usual. Things are changing. The point I need to underscore is that we're actually moving the process. This new democracy is new to us. We've done it 16 years running now. This will be the 20th year to come in. As we progress in the process, people will begin to see, if you notice, the campaign for these elections, we've never seen it before. Contenders and gladiators are beginning to think, wait a minute, the people actually matter now. We need to convince them. See what is happening in Lagos State between Akpedeye and Ambode. It's phenomenal. That's the way elections should be. Elections are getting closer. The competition is getting tougher. It means that the electorate is beginning to count.
And one other layer, I think we have to see that we have ignored is the party agents. And one wonders the essence of party agents if we so go ahead and even bigger on results. Do you think the party agents have truly been good representatives of their political parties?
Ideally, they should be. Because basically, when you are a party agent, you are a fiduciary duty to your candidate. And you say, I want to do work for you, I want to work with you. But again, also, we practice the politics of money. And people change their minds. People do all sorts of things because of money. But even if the party agent did otherwise, if I was an innocent bystander and I could bring that to book. Now, the point one is trying to underscore here is that as we progress in our democratic process, it's going to be a lot more difficult to cheat. People will try, because no sooner the laws come out, no sooner the process come out, people will try to cheat it. Now, all you can take home from here is this. What happened on the 11th? Was it a will of the people? If you can conveniently say yes, then we're moving in the right direction.
What about this other part, wherein some politicians think, okay, you know what, let's see what we can do. If, assuming they connive and say, let's manipulate the process and the outcome, and then, assuming they succeed in doing that, they go to court and say, don't worry, we'll meet in court, because they know and they think that they could also have their way in the court. Or perhaps the rules of justice will grind too slow to the extent that the person who's going to court could get weary and then give up at the end of the day.
Now, I don't know if you've been following the court process. The court process has been tweaked in such a way that you're going to get a lot faster right now. There are no interlocutory injunctions anymore. There are no interlocutory appeals anymore. All objections raised must be handled within a time frame. Indeed, during the process of writing the new laws that's there, I did urge upon them then, we should try as much as possible to see if we can achieve the election processes within a specific time. If you remember, a period of 180 days was put, but that also had its own complications, and for technicalities, a lot of people lost out. I think as we evolve as a people, we must find a middle ground on how to achieve this process and how to get better. Now, if the infractions are getting less and less, then the matter that will go to court becomes a little bit limited. I don't see the presidential election, for instance, going to court right now in the light of what has happened. It'd be unusual, but you can never rule that out. So that takes away one. So that
way first.
That takes away the congestion that otherwise the courts will have. So once the infractions get less and less, then obviously the courts have more time to deal with the cases, the few cases that will come, and that way they'll be quicker in dealing with them. I honestly think that as we evolve as a people, the processes are getting better. And if the laws keep being tweaked in such a way that they get getting more difficult for you to beat the process, then obviously we're moving in the right direction.
What do you think about where people need to just hang on, wait there, and ensure that the results are not just counted, but some people follow the pictures that they send to us, where some people on bikes just following through wherever you're going to collate. Let's go there with you. How do you see that process?
Well, it has its good and bad, because you also don't want people within the precinct in such a way that because they also could decide if you're losing, you could decide to cause commotion and all that. It's a difficult bind. If everybody does play their part and role well, the process will get better.
But one would assume they'll play their part.
Because of the watchful eyes of everybody, you know, the world has become a small village. There's so many. Somebody tweeted in my group the other day about a small child voting in some state. It was obviously a child that was underage. And before long, everybody in this country had it. And it became a talk of town. I would not expect that to repeat itself in such magnitude in the gubernatorial elections. Because the citizens are a lot more aware, and because communication has become a lot much easier, that actually is helping the process of improving the electoral process. We only hope that as a people, you see, the average Nigerian, I wonder whether we will ever fail a lie detector test. The average Nigerians keeps a straight face.
You said the citizens are a lot more aware. Are the politicians aware that the citizens are aware now?
You see, my take is that they will have no choice but to be aware. Once you start finding it difficult to get people to do your bidding at any cost, then obviously you now know it is. Because the stakes get higher, the money gets higher, then you obviously realize that it's no longer business as usual. Then you start thinking, can I not truly campaign to win? It's that change of mindset you need. If you get to a point where the politician says, the only way I think I can win is to actually campaign, then you will have won the battle.
They can focus on issues.
Then you can focus. Look what happened in the presidential elections. They beat themselves in all sides of the country. What that tells me is that for one, they say, wait a minute, electorate, we can't rig you out this time. We really need your votes. And that's what you get in all the devices in this country. All the nook and crannies in the country, people are actually campaigning to win. Don't get me wrong, impunity is still there. It will not go away overnight, but it is getting better with the day.